Hi everyone, this is Elsie Clements here. Welcome back to my channel, and we're in a new year. So with this year, if you notice, I got a new background. I did a DIY project to make this. So now I have a new, better background. You don't have to see my bedroom every year. Since it's winter time, I got this sparkling fabric, and then I used white snowflakes on top of all that. Let me just turn this. You still see the snowflakes. Okay. So there have been a few changes I'm doing to the format of my channel. One thing is you're not going to see my bedroom as much if I can help it. I have a DIY backdrop that I made. I had the week off of work. Started, planning out how I'm going to do my shows, meaning my vlogs, my podcasts, and if any other writing events in between. So the first thing and foremost, as I keep saying, because my brain is not rehashing things over and over again, I did get some fabric background. So this should look a little better than seeing my bedroom, my husband, his bed, our stuff, our sheets, that big fan that's not going anywhere apparently. So hopefully you guys like this new background. The second thing is we're in a new year. That means 2020, as I have heard people, I'm just reaching for my planner here. It is the year for change and new vision. With the new vision, I decided to start planning out, and you've seen this probably in my last year's video, but I'm now planning out my I'm giving you the backside. My projects more. I haven't labeled this as a writer's planner, but I probably should. Just like my Poseidon outline and my charming outline and all my other outlines are labeled, but I digress. So the first thing is I did manage to outline most of book 3 of the Poseidon series. It's not finished, but it's more than halfway done, I want to say, because I already know how the ending's going to work. I know how it's the middle, it's the sagging act 2, the sagging middle, that's giving me a bit of trouble. And you think it wouldn't, considering I'm outlining this, but sadly enough, it has given me quite some trouble. So when I'm not working on my books, preferably for the rest of the month, I will be finishing Poseidon book 3. Now on top of that, I have basically outlined pretty much the whole year, and in between all that, as you can see, I have my notebook here. Like every 3 or 4 days I should be starting 2 new chapters. That's the way I map this out. And the reason why I map this out is I'm already at 70,000 words for the first draft of Poseidon book 1, and it's already overly wordy because there isn't part 1 to it. And in retrospect, when I think more about it, I probably should take out the part 1 because it may not be necessary to the story, but I don't want to start over. As many writers will tell you, you shouldn't start over because 1, it's a first draft, and as we know, first drafts are terrible, and 2, it would just defeat the purpose of you writing this book. So I decided I'm just going to keep it in there. And yes, it's at 70,000 words. I got a good chunk of it in the binder I have underneath my desk. And if you haven't, and in the photo I just showed you, I did clean off the top of my desk. So there'll be more room for my writing. And with top of doing 2 chapters every couple of days, meaning 2 chapters will be finished every 3 to 4 days, I also have 2 podcasts out per month. There should be at least 2 podcasts out per month, barring a couple things such as my husband's birthday's in March, so I may not get around to it till the following month. Then you got wedding anniversary, somebody's birthday, and then ultimately I have a job shutdown notice. The site that I work at, I'm getting laid off on April 3rd. So with that in mind, I'm gotta, be on my grind to look for work, but at the same time, that may free up some writing time slash podcast time. Now, I realize with this New Year video, I'm probably rambling, but I want to keep it at 15 or 20 minutes. And I also want to, give you the format of what's probably going to go on this year, because again, 2020 means new vision. That means I have to have new vision for my format. I can't just keep doing the same things over and over again. So this is the format I came up with. So and by the way, there's 29 days in February. So with 29 days in February, this means this is a leap year. So hopefully by the end of, actually according to my planner, if I plan this out correctly, by at least the mid-February before Valentine's Day, I should be finished book 1, and then I can just set that aside. Now, the rest of the month, I'm already working on Camp NaNoWriMo, which is another event that the NaNoWriMo team does. That's where you it's almost as rigorous as the regular NaNoWriMo, but it's more for people who may either want to get a chance to do NaNoWriMo for the month of November, or they just want to do another big writing event, or maybe they were trying to get young writers. I'm not sure, but at least gives me time to outline for Camp NaNoWriMo. And for Camp NaNoWriMo, I'm already decided. There was a different book series I was going to write. I told you this before, I found this when I was going through my Scrivener files, and it was called the Charming series. I had started by pantsing the story, and then now that I was in the NaNoWriMo mode, I had started outlining it a little bit, but this should give me more time to flesh out Camp NaNoWriMo for February, and for March, it's pretty much Camp NaNoWriMo prep. So that's completely different than the Poseidon series, so that gives my brain a chance to rest. Then come March is the 3-act structure for the reread of my original NaNoWriMo book. That means rereading it, taking notes, and outlining for a new story to revise and to revitalize and to revise the story. Then we got, I should not be going through the whole year because you guys are probably bored to death, but April is the book 2 of the Poseidon series. I already decided April's when I start that. April, May will be when I do the Poseidon book 2. And then also in that month, my brother's graduating college, so I have to go to that. Then I did for 3 months. Okay. Wasn't expecting that. Okay, so April, May, and June is Poseidon book 2. And then, oh yeah, now I remember. I did it for July because July I have it listed as Camp NaNoWriMo, which will be the Charming book I was talking about. So July will be Camp NaNoWriMo. And then August. Do I have anything listed for August? I think in July I have a family reunion to go to, but I might not go because it did cost hundreds of dollars to go to Virginia and get a hotel room for 2 doggone days and the rental car. I might not go this year, but that's still up in the air. For August, I'm doing Poseidon book 3, and then September is Poseidon book 1 reread. Now this Poseidon book 1's reread and rewrite is probably going to be subject to change depending on if the Charming book is up for writing. I'm up for writing that. I don't think I will, but we'll see what happens. Then we got October, which is Preptober, which will be the sequel book to the first NaNoWriMo book I was writing, and then November's NaNoWriMo, and December is when I take the month off of writing. So I have my whole year planned. Doesn't mean it's going to go that way. The first set of things that's going to happen, I also have to, not only do I have a year's worth of planning for the writing, I also have a year worth of podcast episodes. I already have to, I'm hoping by the end of this month I'll have the first 6 months worth of podcast outlining done. Podcast outlining is not the same as book outlining. For podcast outlining, you're basically just giving subjects of what you want to talk about for the podcast, which is going to be different compared to what I'm doing in writing, because writing takes more time. Now that I got all that boring housekeeping crap out the way, birds outside. Yes, I still get birds. They kind of just grate on my air conditioner. But anyway, with that, I also wanted to talk real quick about, I talked about last year, or I should say last month, that NaNoWriMo kind of messed me up. It did, but I took another writer's advice, someone who's already published. Her name is Aphrodite. She's another booktuber. I'll put a link of her channel below. She told me I should probably write something else for the month. And I tried to write something else, but I wasn't really in the mood for it because I really wanted to get back to either writing the Misaki prequel series, which ties into Poseidon, or, I mean, it's more of a standalone, but it's in the same universe, or I wanted to write my Legend of Zelda fan fiction that I wanted to do. But I ended up dropping it off because December is a very busy month. Not only do I have to deal with 2 holidays in the month, it's also, because I work in a call center, our peak volume because everybody's trying to get stuff done by the end of the year and then start a new year anew. So I was stuck with a lot of stuff I had to do before the year was out. So I ended up like not writing at all, and it actually helped my book along because now I have flooded ideas on how I'm going to write the rest of the books, Poseidon book 1. But there's also the drawback, and I worry a little bit about this, that with me writing the book series, if let's say I go to a different book genre, a different book topic, will it mess me up for the next book in the series? I'm hoping not to, and the only reason why I say that is each story in the Poseidon booklet, and I even double check the notebook just to make sure in my outlines before I started talking about the subject, takes place in a different area. And there are different characters for each story, but the characters from the first story show up in all 3. But after the first story, the 2 mains all become supporting characters, and so on and so forth. So I'm hoping it doesn't really interfere because every character is different. Every character has different personality, and I'm hoping it shines through as I'm writing it. But again, this is the first draft of each story. And now so the question being, will you get it done? I'm hoping I at least get most of the first draft of the first series done. And then the second series of stories I'm working on will get done the next year. Now, the only thing is, and I've been criticized of this before, I have trouble after my first draft. And I think it has something to do with the fact that I don't know, I feel like my story is done and I don't want to look at it again, but I have to look at it again. The one thing about stories is you have to keep rewriting. As I told my 13-year-old cousin, because she wrote a book and her mother unfortunately told her this is the worst book I ever read, and of course she's 13, so I had to tell her, well, of course, I had to say in a way that wouldn't hurt her feelings, but I said, of course, sort of like, of course your first draft's going to be terrible, but that's why you keep rewriting it and rewriting it and rewriting it. And she didn't like that idea, and of course she's 13, she could change her mind at any time. But the point I'm trying to make is I don't want to get to that point where I don't like my series, but at the same time, I know what I'm doing. I have trouble after the first draft. I feel like my story is perfect, but I think a lot of people get to that point where they think because they finish the story, their story is perfect. But hindsight's 20/20. I think that's why they tell you to put the book away, go back to that book like months and months, and then read it with fresh, new, refreshed brain and eyes, take notes, and then you polish your story from there. So my goal this year is to go back to these books and polish the ones that are already written. So Poseidon book 1 is going to be a focus, and then the NaNoWriMo series, the book I wrote in November, will be the books I reread, reorganize, and rewrite, hopefully. Now, this planner was written in ink, and thank God I bought not highlighter, what's that thing called? Whiteout. Because this will be subject to change. What if it's better? It could be a better timing to rewrite, let's say the NaNoWriMo book, and then rewrite the Poseidon book 1. I might choose to go down that route. So there's that change. And then I'm trying to think of the other thing. Oh, my shutdown day for my job, like I said, is April 3rd. So that may free me up some time to do more writing because I want to go stay in government, but at the same time, government jobs sometimes are hard to come by. So maybe, since 2020 is the year of renewal, this may be the year for me to do more for myself. Maybe this is the year that I'm supposed to do more for myself. On top of all that, I've been saving up to get an iMac. I forgot to do something today, darn it. So I'm going to get an iMac, and hopefully I'll pay off most of it. And then even with me not working and just let's say I don't work for a while, my husband works and I'm on unemployment. The unemployment will help me supplement paying off that iMac because I need a computer. And I've had my MacBook Pro since 2014. It's the welded in one. It only has 8 gigabytes of RAM. I want to upgrade it. Yeah, I can't just unscrew the back. I have to take the welding off and all that crap. And it's just easier just to buy a new one. So I'm stuck with the unfortunate decision to get a Mac. I was not hoping to get a new Mac because MacBooks, I've had one MacBook last me 9 years. Usually mine lasts a while, but this welded in one with the lack of memory kind of threw me off. So I have to do what's probably best, especially not just for my channel that you're, watching me on or my podcast, but everybody kind of needs a computer. They say you can use your smartphone, but at the end of the day, you still need your computer for something. So I got to get a new computer. So I have a lot on my plate this year. I'm hoping the next video you see me in, hopefully probably next month, probably mid next month, I want to say, I should have my new iMac with the new format, and that should open more opportunities for what I want to do in this set of videos, and also for my writing and my podcasting. I think I just covered everything. I'm hoping it's less than 15 minutes, but I don't want to push my luck. So what I'm going to do is end the video, and I will chat with you guys again in the next week's video.